So he came to me and was like, yo, I can only cut you a third of the money I'm supposed to give you. I said, you know what, man? I want to do these songs. You know what I'm saying?
See, Craig Mack used to come up in the studio, man, by himself. You know, so, or have man that whoever was driving him, whoever he was riding with, he used to come over in the studio by himself.
Did you hear about the conflict between Diddy and Craig Mack? According to rumors, Diddy openly disliked Craig, and Ken, Diddy's bodyguard, supposedly gave out a t-shirt connected to this. But this wasn't just a simple disagreement. Diddy was a music mogul who supported Craig as an up-and-coming artist, only to drop him later, reportedly because he couldn't handle Craig's talent and success. Ready for this spicy story?
I got with somebody, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say their names. I'm just going to say somebody that wanted to do another album with me. So I said, cool. I gave him my price. And the price was, to me, was low. You know, and they were supposed to give me the money. And I go in the studio and I start banging out. So he came to me and was like, yo, I can only cut you a third of the money I'm supposed to give you. I said, you know what, man? I want to do these songs. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to do this and that, the third, let's do it. You give me the money as we go. You know what I'm saying? I'll take a third again. I'll take a third again when we finish the actual recording of the album. Nothing happened. No money. So I stopped recording. I said, I'm not going to be an idiot and sit here and do all this stuff for everybody, and I'm not going to see anything from it. You know, next thing I know, money comes, with this bullish mafia mentality with him and his goons and all that stuff like that. Talking about, yo, you owe us an album. And I'm like, excuse my French, but I don't owe you shit. You owe me money. You know what I'm saying? So if you can come up with the rest of the dough, then we can come up with the rest of the album. No dough, no records. That's it. I don't think you know what you mean when you're saying that, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what type of dude I am. You know what kind of muscle I got. You know what I'm saying? Right now, you need to be in the studio. So I said, all right, meet me up there at 7 o'clock. And I went and got one of my gunmen. My man, I'm not going to mention his name either. He came with me up there. Okay? And they saw him, and they fell back because they was going to do something to me. But they didn't. So we talked about it, came to definite, look, no cash, no record. I'm not going to be sitting here going in the studio all night, every night, busting my ass, and I ain't seeing nothing from it. And you're making me feel like even if you did have the rest of that cash, us taking it to the next level is going to be a problem because it's going to be money problems. I can see it already. So I caught a couple of threats, a couple of, passers-by in the street and everything else. I caught a couple of threats. And I was sitting there, going to pick up my sister from work. And I'm in her car. I'm driving her car to go pick her up from work. And I just was sitting in the chair and I was like, God, I'm so tired of everything that's going on. I was in my sister. I called my sister because we've known each other for so long. You know what I'm saying? It's like brother and sister, But I was in my sister's car and I had a gun in my lap. And I'm sitting there and I'm talking to God. I'm like, Lord, I don't want to do this. But if it comes to getting ugly where somebody's going to be trying to kill me, I'm going to have to do something first or do something to prevent that from happening. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I'm frustrated. I really need your advice and your love right now. And I started flipping around the radio station, 660 AM or FM, one of the stations where the Supreme team used to be on. Early in the morning, and the dudes from Upper Hempstead would have that joints blasting. So I was looking for that. And when I turned the station, all this gospel music came on. And it was this song I've never heard before in my life ever, but I knew that it was God talking to me. You know what I'm saying? Because of the way it made me feel emotionally. I broke down, started crying all over the place in the car. And I'm sorry. I was thinking about trying to do this to somebody because it was really in my heart to kill him. You know what I'm saying? I was going to do it. But I knew in my conscience also that that's not the right thing you're supposed to be doing.
So mention Shine, Craig Mack, and G-Dub. We already spoke about Shine in the last interview, so we don't have to speak on that. But Craig Mack, what was the reason for the fallout between him and Puffy?
I think it had more to do with his management. See, back in those days, bro, I think a lot of the guys who were managing and having managers, they was using guys that were close to them that really probably didn't know the business that well. See, Mace had a manager named Cuda, and Cuda knew the business, whereas the Mace got a damn good contract on his first contract. And I was hearing that Mace's first contract was better than Big's contract. You understand what I'm saying? So now, Craig Mack manager may have known a little bit more about the business than Puff thought he should have. And Puff told Craig Mack, and I was there when he said, yo, if you don't get rid of your manager, I ain't fucking with you no more.
Let me take you back to Craig Mack's heyday, when he was Diddy's shining star, brighter than a diamond. Diddy couldn't stop smiling, and Craig was the talk of the town. Craig's music hit like an explosion, with his rhythm, flow, and swagger taking over the streets. He was everywhere, on the radio, in clubs, and even in your mom's car. Diddy treated Craig like a proud dad at a kindergarten graduation, showing him off as if he were the eighth wonder of the world. But as Craig's star rose, things started to change. Diddy, who once couldn't get enough of him, began to act differently. According to Diddy's bodyguard, the mogul started feeling uneasy about Craig's success. One moment, he was all smiles, and the next, he looked at Craig like he'd stolen something. Poor Craig, too caught up in his fame and success, didn't see the storm brewing. Diddy's hugs got colder and his smiles grew tighter, signaling trouble ahead.
And Craig Mack wasn't getting rid of his manager. So it was that fallout. I think I seen on one of the video shows, and you see Craig Mack like this while Big and Puff is standing up and they talking, and Puff say, yeah, we're gonna do Craig Mack, yep, take that, yeah, we're gonna do Craig Mack, yep, take that. We're gonna do Craig Mack album in January, and Craig Mack did like this and looked at him like, what the fuck is you lying for? You understand? That's in one of that videos that circulated on the internet. But he didn't like Craig Mack managers, so he got rid of the guy who actually launched Big's career.
Yeah, I know the interview you're talking about. It was an interview with Puffy, Biggie, and Craig Mack, and they asked Puffy what was the upcoming plans for Bad Boy. And he brings up Craig Mack, and he say Craig Mack is coming out with an album. And Craig Mack, he looks at him with like this confused look on his face. But G-Dep, man, I want to talk about him and Puffy, man. What was the issue between him and Puffy?
Well, I don't know if it was a fallout or anything like that. G-Dep, him and Black Rob, in a sense, never left the streets. You know what I'm saying? And G-Dep Rob brought G-Dep to the label, and he wanted G-Dep to be his artist, but Puff took G-Dep as his own artist, made that money off him, and kicked him to the curb. So I don't think it was much of a fallout. He just couldn't handle. Puff is the type of dude, if he can't handle you, he gonna get rid of you. If he can't do what he wanna do with you, you're not gonna be in his camp. That's why he never signed DMX. And he signed the Lox, because the Lox was more comfortable for him. He thought the Lox would be more comfortable with him dealing with them than X. You know what I'm saying? So he signed people that he could deal with, and he worked with the people that he could deal with. If you're gonna be a head case or head problem, 9 times out of 10, he gonna get rid of you.
There was a problem, but what exactly? The bodyguard noticed that Diddy started making excuses, saying he was busy or had other meetings to avoid being around Craig. Meanwhile, rumors on the streets said Diddy was spending more time with someone else. And soon, he had a new favorite. That's the big question, isn't it? But before I reveal that, let me tell you, Diddy wasn't happy that Craig could handle setbacks on his own. That was just the start of the drama, which got messier than a toddler eating spaghetti. The bodyguard even overheard Diddy on a call saying Craig was too independent and didn't need him enough. Craig was about to learn the hard way that in this industry, your biggest supporter can turn into your worst enemy faster than you can say bad boy for life. True colors were about to show, and trust me, they weren't pretty.
Go back to this article by Rolling Stone about Craig Mack. They claimed that Craig Mack, he asked Diddy for money before at an event. And Diddy, he pulled out a wad of money with a smirk on his face and only gave him $100. You heard about that?
I don't know about that, but I could see Puff doing that, fronting like that. I could see that. See, Craig Mack used to come up in the studio, man, by himself. You know, or have man that whoever was driving him, whoever he was riding with, he used to come over in the studio by himself. And he would have confrontations with Puff. I mean, they talking. You understand? Puff would talk in front of all of them because he showboated.
He know he ain't gonna use Craig no more. But Craig needed the money. He wasn't even using Craig to write. If Craig needed a little money and everything like that, there was a lot of business going on. He could have either put Craig down on some projects for him to write. He wasn't even using Craig to write because he didn't want to have nothing to do with him because Big didn't like Craig Mack. And
damn, so he just sided with Big and everything.
Yeah, man. He didn't like Craig Mack.
Yeah, they also claim in this article that he filed for bankruptcy to try to leave Bad Boy.
Well, that's some legal jargon. Now, I guess he filed bankruptcy because he couldn't go no place else. You understand? He was trying to show that, you know, he didn't have no money. He didn't have nothing to pay his bills or something. That's some legal jargon that I'm not even familiar with that one, bro. But if he did it, it had to be for a purpose. Yeah, but you know that he was about to go home to death row. You know he was about to go to death row, right?
Yeah. I was about to ask you about that. Looking at this article, they brought that up too. They claimed that Craig Mack, he was about to sign with Death Row to get back at Diddy. They claimed that Suge Knight, he flew him out to LA. He offered him an advance for $200K in a recorded budget for $1.2 million.
Well, I don't know how true that is, man, but I know for a fact Eric B was going to be the president and take over. He's going to be in charge of Death Row East. Him and Big D. You understand? Craig Mack was going to be their first artist. You know Eric B and Rakim, right?
Of course.
Yeah, okay, you know that. So Eric B was going to be over Death Row East. Craig Mack was going to be their first artist. And then when Pac got killed, all that shit just went down the drain. Yeah, he was signing with Death Row East, but it was because of Eric B. I know Suge Knight cut the checks and everything like that, but Eric B had already made that, you know, that situation that was going to happen. Because at the time, Puff ain't want no problem with Eric B. Eric B is like Hammer, one of them quiet gangsters that nobody really know about, and you don't really want a problem with them. Yeah, so Puff ain't want no problem with Eric B. So if Craig Mack would have went there, it'd have been all good.
Yeah, and they also claiming that Diddy, he was trying to change Craig Mack lyrics in the way he dressed.
Well, Craig Mack was, like I said, he was his own artist. And that's why Big never recorded around Puff like that. You understand what I'm saying? I don't think you would get too many, like Big did like what, the double CD, Ready to Die. How many times you gonna see footage of him and Puff in the studio while he was recording and everything? Big did this shit on his own. Like when he was doing that Bone Thugs and Harmony, we was all in the studio together. Big was smoking, but Big didn't record that. Big waited about 3 or 4 days after Bone Thugs and Harmony record their stuff and recorded on his own. So none of them like to be in the studio with Puff like that, Craig Mack or Big. So I don't know how they can say that Puff was giving them ideas. You know, I've seen Puff tell people to change certain things, but I guess that's what a producer do. An executive producer.
Just when Craig thought he was on top, a new king was about to claim the bad boy throne. But who could possibly outshine him? Enter Christopher Wallace, better known as Biggie Smalls. When Biggie arrived, Diddy's excitement was through the roof. It was like his birthday and Christmas had come at the same time. The bodyguard said Diddy was acting like a kid with a new toy, spending more time with Biggie than anyone else, even his own mother. Meanwhile, Craig was still thinking he was the star, not realizing Diddy's focus had shifted. Biggie's rise was fast and powerful, with his rhymes hitting harder than a heavyweight punch. Diddy was riding Biggie's success like a pro surfer, enjoying every moment. Craig started to feel left out and tried to get Diddy's attention, but Diddy was too caught up with his new star to notice.
Well, I think that I don't know about 17-year-old, that's one-on-one. or the 16-year-old. You said 17. I think I heard 16, but you normally right. But I don't know about that particular victim because that's gonna be one-on-one, and But that 10-year-old one, y'all, he done laid out about 2 or 3 people that was involved in that. I think he laid out a bodyguard, and this is 2003, y'all. 2003, 2000, man, it's getting close to Gene Deal time, y'all. It's getting close to those days, y'all. But I ain't saying it, but it's getting close, y'all. He definitely got to know who this particular bodyguard is. Now, this young guy, a young man, I guess he's a young man now, but he was a boy then. He said that he flew across town with a talent agent, right? That had a relationship with Diddy to get him in a meeting. To meet with Diddy, a 10-year-old, a talent agent. That person right there, whoever that person is, definitely will be before the grand jury within a week or two. Because they want to know, did this happen? Did you fly across the state and take him and y'all have a meeting with Diddy? A victim like that, y'all, whew, game changer, y'all. And there's too many people that's not connected to Puffy, which I believe if that talent agent did that and brought him and left him in a room alone and all of that, if that all come out to be true, and this kid can show that he been having some type of psychological issues and substance issues now and things like that, y'all gotta stop defending Diddy, y'all. Those are the few of y'all that's in the comment section. Why you always talking about Diddy? This channel, I remember y'all used to say all I talked about was Snoop. All I talked about was Suge. All I talked about was Death Row business. Now I'm talking about something different. All you talk about is Diddy. No, I talk about whatever gonna get us some motherfucking views and whatever the hot topic is. Okay, motherfuckers? So before you waste your time typing that, if you don't like it, check the motherfucking off. I don't make you click on Bomb First channel when you see Reggie Wright face. All right, back to reality. So my only point is, y'all, that victim could be damaging. That person that transported him and brought him over there, I hope like hell it ain't KK, but that person gonna be damaging to Diddy. The bodyguards that they're naming now, you notice on both of those complaints, they all said a bodyguard took and locked them in a room, and I even think one of the persons got dismissed from the making of the band show because they didn't want to get down with the bodyguard.
The bodyguard shared more details, saying that Craig would show up at the studio excited and ready to work, but Diddy was always busy, in private meetings with Biggie. Craig would call and leave messages, but Diddy never returned them. It felt like Craig disappeared overnight, while Biggie's career took off with his debut album, Ready to Die. Biggie's success was like a fire in the hip-hop scene, while Craig seemed to be forgotten. When Biggie's album went platinum, the bodyguard saw Craig's face, which looked like his dreams were crashing down. Since Craig helped put Bad Boy on the map, you'd think Diddy would have been loyal to him, but loyalty in the music industry is rare. Craig started to feel abandoned, like he was left out in the cold without a coat. And trust me, this was just the beginning. The real cold shoulder was about to hit him harder than a freight train. The music business can turn on you fast, and Craig was about to learn that the hard way. It's not pretty.
Sick shit, y'all. Sick shit. Male on male. Okay, said I ain't gonna say that no more. Male on male with a kid, that's a kid. It's some sick shit, y'all. I'm sorry, it's sick. And if any of these things are true, I'm just glad there's other people now that's involved in their naming so the grand jury can investigate and talk to these people and bring these people in. Because everybody ain't gonna protect Diddy. And that will be what I see, what I think. I'm just waiting for December, y'all. I may even push it back to before Thanksgiving, y'all. Because It's gonna be a lot of people in that New York jail. And there's gonna be a lot of people going before the grand jury. As y'all know, y'all see it's still going on. I know a lot of people are like, there's only one victim. I told y'all, that was just to get that predator off the streets so he can stop threatening and doing all of these particular things. I still stand by my bail schedule comments that Puffy or Diddy should only have a bill that one alleged victim has for that accusation. But once you get all the alleged victims, it appears going to be coming forward. I think we up to what, 23, 25 lawsuits now? Might be even a little more. I don't know. I don't keep up. But all I'm worried about is the kids and the ones that have been showing that they've been seeking psychological help, and the ones that's on tapes that just found out what had happened to them. All the ones that's coming out, even this 17-year-old young man, I wish he would have came forward a little sooner. I understand kids believe that, and I don't understand it. I know a lot of people don't understand why. I'm going to kill your parents. I'm going to kill your parents. I have never been threatened like that, so I don't know. But I have heard that a lot when people say, when you make threats that you're going to do act of violence to their mother or their father, that kids shut down. I can't speak on that to talk negative on that, because that has never happened to me. But that makes me go, when I hear people say that. That's why they didn't come forward. Out of fear that something was going to happen to their parents and stuff. But it's obviously a true thing that goes on to people, because we have heard it a lot of times. So I guess I have to give people that's the reason why they don't come forward a pass, because it's not just one or two people that says that. A lot of the females that over here in Vaughn First been on my case because they felt like I've been coming down hard on victims that don't come forward. I might have to walk that back a little bit, because yeah, you're right. I've never been victimized like that, so I don't know how that acts, or how the person deals with stuff like that that traumatize them that way. And I may be coming a little bit too hard. But my only point is, I believe at some time, other than when a new law come out that says you can file, you can file back on the cases that they outside the statute, that we thought was outside of the statute of limitation. And now that you have attorneys that putting up 1-800 numbers and all of that, now that you all of a sudden got enough guts to come out and testify or make the claims now, just find that a little suspicious. But okay, that's Reggie Rice's opinion.
Have you ever seen someone go from the top to the bottom? Craig was about to experience that huge drop. Here's what happened. Diddy suddenly acted like Craig didn't exist, and when you hear why, it'll blow your mind. Craig's second album was released, but it got no attention. Crickets. That was just the start. Craig was excited about his new record, but his career was falling apart. Diddy wasn't around at all, and it was like Craig disappeared overnight. No promotion, no support, nothing. The bodyguard said Diddy just told the team to focus on Biggie. The streets were saying Craig was left with no help. Like last week's Laundry, just cold shoulders everywhere. And girl, let me tell you about that album. It flopped worse than a fish out of water. Craig called Diddy's office hoping to get some attention for his own concert, but everyone was in a meeting. His album didn't even make a dent on the charts. Meanwhile, Diddy was probably celebrating with Biggie, enjoying their worldwide success.
But Black Rob was one of those extraordinary head problems, because he can make a hit.
Mace, man, he said another line in the Oracle too that caught my attention, man. He said that you not an architect, you just a nigga that know how to market deals. How you feel about him saying that?
Self-explanatory. Self-explanatory, dog. He probably made about $400 to $500 million off of Big's death. With the album, with the marketing of it, all that Missing You and stuff like that. you know, their songs and everything, the concerts and everything. And I think Ms. Wallace got like 7.7 million. I'm not for sure, don't quote me on it, but I think she got like $7.7 million for that album. Huh? Didn't it go 10 times platinum or something?
Yeah, he actually went diamond, and it did sell 10 million.
So, with Craig Mack, Black Rob, you know when somebody die, they re-put their music out and everything like that, and they do a little market campaign up there so people could buy their music. They rush and buy those artists' music once they die. You understand? And the artist might sell a couple of million more than what he had already sold once he died. So that's the only thing that I could think about. He said he's marketing death. You understand? Or putting people in positions whereas that they don't even have music no more. They got the grave to look forward to.
The bodyguard told me that when he saw Craig's face, he understood everything. It was like seeing someone's spirit leave their body. Everyone could see that the golden boy had turned into nothing more than fool's gold. The big question is, why did Diddy turn on Craig like that? It wasn't like Craig suddenly lost his talent. He was still the gifted rapper who gave us Flava in your ear. Hold on tight, because the real story is coming, and it's hotter than anything you've heard. Craig started to figure things out, but the pieces weren't adding up. The bodyguard overheard some conversations that will shock you. Before I get into all that drama, let me give you a sneak peek of what was really going on behind the scenes. Trust me, what you've heard so far is just the beginning. Diddy's true feelings were about to come out, and they weren't pretty. We're talking jealousy and bitterness that would make even the Hulk jealous. This chaotic story is just getting started, and the worst part is yet to come. It's a cold, hard truth.
The issue between Craig Mack and Puffy.
Craig Mack manager, right? Puff told Craig Mack if he didn't change management, he wasn't fucking with him no more. You understand? And they had a real big beef behind that. And Craig wasn't getting rid of his management. I guess the dude had been with him for a long time. So Craig said, yo, listen here, man, I'm not changing my manager just because you want to. Because Craig wanted his money for his music. So Puff said, yo, I ain't fucking with that kid no more. Not at all. I was right there when he said that. Told Craig Mack, you don't change your management, I ain't fucking with you.
And it got to a point where Biggie, he had a problem with Craig Mack too, right? What was the issue he had with Craig Mack? Because I've seen an interview that Biggie did with Little Siege, right? And he said that he didn't fuck with Craig Mack in that interview. I never understood that, man. What was the
Craig
issue
Mack
between the two?
At the time was hotter than Big. I said this before. If it wasn't for Craig Mack song, Big, you gotta realize Ready to Die was out for 6 months and it wasn't doing no numbers. When Big got on that remix on Craig Mack's song, and he went first on Craig Mack's song. When he did that remix, then it started been looking up for him. But Big from Brooklyn. You understand? If you wasn't from Brooklyn, Big really wasn't fucking with you on the for real, for real.
And it's been said that Craig Mack, he was going to Death Row, right? How did Biggie and Puffy feel about that? Because at that time, they was beefing with Death Row, Suge Knight and Tupac. So, so how did they feel about that? What's that getting to him, knowing that he was about to sign with Death Row?
Now, I didn't hear anything about that, but I knew that Craig Mack was going to sign to Death Row. He was going to be their first artist on Death Row East. He was coming in there with Eric B. Eric B and Big D was going to run that label. You understand what I'm saying? So Craig Mack was going to be their first artist. He was supposed to be performing that night at, I think it's 662?
Yeah, Club 662 in Vegas.
Yeah, Club 662 in Vegas, the night Pac got killed. Craig Mack was supposed to be performing there at that club that night.
Let's dive into this mess. You've probably heard the saying, it's lonely at the top. But in Diddy's world, it wasn't just lonely, it was ruthless. Get ready, because this tea is so hot, it might burn your mouth. The bodyguard revealed something shocking that will make you see Diddy in a whole new light. Here's the real story. Diddy was actually jealous of Craig. The big-time producer was envious of his own street artist. Craig's talent was too much for Diddy to handle. He wanted to be the star, not just the guy behind the star. The bodyguard overheard Diddy saying, "Craig is too talented to need me." Can you imagine being upset because your artist is too talented? Diddy needed someone who made him feel like the big shot. Enter Biggie. Talented, but rough around the edges. Perfect for Diddy to mold and take credit for. Biggie was like a lump of clay, something Diddy could shape into whatever he wanted. But Craig was already polished and shining. Diddy's ego couldn't handle it. He couldn't claim Craig's success, and it drove him crazy.
And I was gonna set out the Death Row East shit. See, what people don't understand, man, there was people that was trying to stop this whole shit before it got to that point, because I guess they realized, yo, listen to me, man, somebody gonna die behind this shit. You understand? So they tried to have that meeting, and I talked about that meeting before, where the people who was running Death Row East wanted to talk to Bad Boy, and they needed a representative, and Puff wouldn't come to the table with him. Man, Craig Mack went to his grave mad at Bad Boy. Craig Mack told his people, told the religious people, that don't let them pay for shit of mine. I don't want them to pay for nothing in my death. You gotta be mad at a motherfucker, man.
Kirk Burrows, I want to go back to this interview I did with him, right? He made a comment in this interview and he said that Biggie and Puffy wasn't that close as Puffy makes it seem. What you think about him saying that?
I don't believe they were. I don't believe they were that close because Big used to always clown him. You understand? You know, but Big needed him just as much as he needed Big. And I think that it was basically just a business type situation, but they were cool. But Puff had robbed Big and Big was robbing Puff. Those games you don't play like that with your friends or nobody, especially when there's money involved. Big learned the game. Big seen how through his management, Puff was robbing him and had robbed him out of his publishing and his marketing. Puff seen how Big learned how to put his publishing in other people's name to stop him from getting the money that he was owed. But Big had to play the game because Big wanted to get his publishing back and his marketing that he had sold out to Puff. So you gotta be cordial, you gotta play the game. But you gotta look at the business of it. Big didn't bring those groups to Bad Boy. Did he bring Lil Kim to Bad Boy? No. Did he bring Lil C's? No. Did he bring Junior Mafia? No. He didn't bring none of his groups to Bad Boy. The groups that he had with Un. They took that shit to Capitol. You understand what I'm saying? And Atlantic.
Diddy went into full evil mode and quickly worked to destroy Craig's career. It was like he took Craig's success, froze it, and threw it away. The betrayal was complete. According to the bodyguard, Diddy started calling people to warn them not to work with Craig. The streets said Diddy couldn't handle any competition, so he left Craig out in the cold. One day, Craig was on top of the world, and the next, he wondered why his phone stopped ringing. Diddy couldn't stand sharing the spotlight, and that's what really messed things up. The bodyguard said Diddy laughed with his friends about how he had put Craig in his place. The worst part? Craig's career was sinking fast, like the Titanic. While Diddy talked about family and loyalty, the bodyguard said Craig tried to reach out and figure out what went wrong, but Diddy ghosted him like a bad Tinder date. The whole situation was messier than a toddler eating spaghetti, showing just how fast your biggest supporter can turn into your worst enemy in this industry. Craig learned the hard way that in Diddy's world, it's not about talent or loyalty. It's all about who can make Diddy look the best. If you shine on your own, you can end up getting pushed aside. But
I don't blame her for what she did. I don't think it's nothing different from a lot of these people who come on here who claim like they journalists. She went to school. You understand? A lot of people claim to be journalists like you, myself. We all come on here
but who has an education in journalism? Who has an education in broadcasting? Who has an education in communication that they could come and develop a program and stuff like that? You don't have to have that anymore. You got people coming on here and they talking doing their thing. You understand? But there's none other like Wendy Williams, man. None other like her.
I was looking at an interview from Jaguar, right? And I want to get your opinion on it. She told a story about how she knows a lawyer that walked in on Christopher Williams giving Diddy fellatio for a demo deal. You know anything about that? You heard about that?
Bruh, I don't know how true that is. I've heard that but I know Christopher Williams. And I know Christopher Williams was a crazy gangster ass Nick from Mount Vernon. From up in that area, Westchester. He didn't play that shit. He kept that 3.2 or that 38 on him, and he will shoot the shit out you. You understand? He was rough with his hands with the women. And the story went on and said that a lawyer walked in the office. When she walked in the office, she walked right out, and she said it was a dude, and she said it was Christopher Williams. It was one other brother, I forgot his name, that worked with Bad Boy. Him and Christopher Williams could have been brothers. And if anybody was doing that, it would have been him, not Christopher Williams. Do you understand that? Him and Christopher Williams could have been brothers. That's how close, that's how they had the same look, light skin, the little low on the side, curly hair and stuff like that. I would never believe it was Christopher Williams. You understand? But that other cat, yeah. You got to realize, when you walk into something, there's very few people, if they walk into something like that, they're going to stare there and look and just be all into the shit, right? There's very few people going to do that. When you walk in something that's very inappropriate, you're going to back up out, especially women. You understand what I'm saying? So now, if she's seen a glance, she only gonna see a glance. Now, if somebody who looks like Christopher Williams, maybe. But then you gotta look at it like this. Was she in the office all the time? I don't remember us having a lawyer in the office like that. Or she was just coming by that particular time, I don't know. I don't know the situation. I want to stay off that, but I know from knowing Christopher Williams, having an altercation with him before, and knowing people that know him, he's some old crazy gangster shit. And why would he, Puff? Nah, bro. Puff wasn't that damn big back then.
Keefy D, what you think about that situation, yo? What's going on with that?
Well, I spoke to Keefy D's son, and Keefy D's son said that he was all right, he was fine. He never got beat up in jail. All that was bullshit. He in jail with family and friends, and he's doing good. They just trying to get this money up so he can come home.
I don't think you're going to get the money, bro. Who's going to put the money up for that, yo?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Do you still feel the same? You think he's still going to win it?
I know he's going to win it. I know he's going to win it. You got to realize he got a trial by judge. The judge has to follow the letter of the law. There's only circumstantial evidence and hearsay on a murder case.
The real reason Diddy hated Craig Mack came out like dirty laundry, and it was messier than a food fight at a fancy restaurant. It makes you wonder how many other artists Diddy has done dirty for his own gain. The streets say this isn't the first time, and it probably won't be the last. So the next time you hear Diddy talk about loyalty and family, remember Craig Mack. In this game, your biggest supporter might be the one waiting to stab you in the back. The music industry isn't a fairy tale. It's more like a jungle where only the ruthless survive, and Diddy is the king, ready to push anyone off the cliff if they threaten his crown. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and stay informed. Stay tuned for more updates and let's keep our news accurate.